You came to me in that hour of need, when I was so lost, so lonely. You came to me, took my breath away, showed me the right way, the way to lead. You filled my heart with love, showed me the light above. Now all I want is to be with you. You are my one true love, taught me to never judge. Now all I want is to be with you. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mustafa, ala habibika nabika Mustafa.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. When God has created mankind and give wisdom to mankind, the whole reason of having wisdom is to get perfected, and it is a type of tool and guidance for you to reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and become united with Allah and reach to those highest possible in creation that you can. The whole goodness about mankind is that you have the possibility that become united with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That possibility is not with another beings. Anything in this world that you can see, they have not the capacity to become united with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because they don't have something from Allah inside them. And I gave you this example before. If you put one drop of water under the microscope, you will see the same formula as you put the whole ocean under the microscope. It all gives you H2O. And that is not with the rest of things. So mountains cannot be united with ocean. Stones cannot be united with ocean. The trees cannot be united with the ocean. The only one thing in the world which has got the capacity to become united with the ocean to that extent that when you see it, you can call it ocean, and you can forget to call him drop anymore. It's not anymore drop. It is now an ocean, and you can actually call it ocean. That is that drop, which is from the same formula as the ocean. The same is the situation with us. The trees cannot be united with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? The animals cannot be united. The other creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the heavens, the galaxies, the planets, the stars, the moon, the sun, all of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this beautiful sky that we have, the beautiful land that we have, none of them has got the capacity to be united with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only one thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that nafakhtu fihi min ruhi, I have whispered in this being called human from my own soul. That means the same formula of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if it can be formulated, is inside you. So you can easily be united with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while the rest of the creation, it's impossible, because something from Allah is inside you. نَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. So that ruh of you has got the capacity of unification with Allah. And then when you reach to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's position of unity, that most of the mystic personalities of the world, always when they are looking for perfection, always they talk about the position called fana fillah. This fana fillah, that's exactly when that drop comes from the sky and it reached to the ocean. That movement, that particular time that the drop just reached at the ocean and then dissolve in the water and disappear in the ocean, that moment is the moment of fana fillah, fana fil ocean, fana fil bahr, or what you call it. So a human being also has got this process of purification of the soul, reaching to the position that you can be so much united that you don't see at all yourself. You are Mr. Nobody anymore, even for yourself. When you do something, you see it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you do something good, you always see that behind that thing which you have done actually was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you reach to that position of unification with Allah, and that's a great position. All of the mystics, all of the saints and the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are always looking for that position. And if Ibrahim alayhi salam has reached to that position, if Isa alayhi salam was able to give life to dead people, if prophets are able to make miracles, it's all because they have been reaching to the position of unification with Allah. When you become united with Allah, you will become as knowledgeable as Allah. You see, as knowledgeable as Allah. You can see the future as Allah can see. You can make miracle as He does. You can predict things as He does. And you become as forgiver as Him, as merciful as Him, as compassionate as Him, because now you are not anymore there. You have been dissolved with Allah. So this is the process. In this process, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you two tools. And He has perfected His mercy in you. You have no excuse in the day of judgment that I didn't know. Because from inside and outside, He has actually covered you. He has given you guidance from outside and from inside. It's like a computer. There was a time that the computers did not have internal correction system. When the computer was getting a problem, then you have to take this computer to somebody who knows the computer to repair it. But nowadays, if your computer has got a problem, there is some buttons there. The Microsoft has actually built it inside that you can do the fragmentation, you can do this, you can do that, and finally your computer from within become perfected. If it's not fast, it becomes faster. If the memory is full, then you can actually release some of the memories. If there is a virus, the computer itself will kill the virus, will protect it. The shields are created, and that is the wisdom that you have inside. Allah has built inside you something called the wisdom that from inside will start guiding you. From inside. Sometimes you do something wrong with your computer, the message comes. If you do this, you will lose all of your files. You will do this. This is the result. That is the wisdom from inside which guide you that this is not a good job you're doing. However, if you want to do it, but you must know that by pressing this button, by having this movement, you will lose all of your memories, for example. That is the wisdom from inside. From inside will tell you, doing this job is good or bad. From inside it will tell you that the situation is such that you have to do good or bad, and the consequences of what you're doing is right or wrong, and what is the benefit of what you're doing, and what is the wrong side and wrong aspect of your action. That is the profits from inside. That is internal profit. And that's your wisdom. That wisdom has been given to all mankind, including prophets. Even the prophets, all of them, they have this profit within themselves. My simple question always is that who was the prophet of our prophet before he became our prophet? Who was guiding him? You cannot say that he was follower of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, because naturally he was not supposed to follow a prophet which is so long before him. He should follow the immediate prophet, and that was Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. And never in the language of the riwayat and the narrations that we have, it has been said that he was the follower of Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, but it's the opposite. There are a lot of narrations that he himself so many times has said out of a type of pride that he took in his ummah and his followers, that how is your feeling concerning an ummah which the prophets of other nations will follow your imam. Not only him was not following Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, but Hazrat Isa is going to follow one of the imams of his shariat and his religion. That is so great. So you cannot say that he was following any prophet before him. And if in some occasions it has been said that he is following Hazrat Ibrahim, no, he was not following Hazrat Ibrahim, he was following the method of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Method of Ibrahim was thinking, using the internal prophet which is within every human being. So, by following the internal prophet, our prophet have actually achieved the qualification to become the prophet for the rest of the world. And that internal prophet is in you, in me, in every other human being. Salawat. Now, so that is the internal prophet. Now, for him to to complete his actually mercy in human being, he has sent other prophets in the form of human being, for you not to have no excuse in the day of judgment. So in case that the internal prophets are not functioning perfectly, these prophets from outside should help. These prophets from outside should come and rescue and save your soul. And that's exactly the function of the external prophets. They are nazir. They are muballigh. الَّذِينَ يُبَلِّغُونَ رِسَالَاتِ اللَّهِ. They are the propagators of the religion. They are the proclaiming figures of this particular religion. They are the announcers of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the messengers of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to mankind. They are the executors of the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are the examples of mankind and humanity. For you not to have no excuse in the day of judgment. Now, these external prophets, first of all, should not have no contradiction with the internal prophet. And that is very vital for us to understand. There should be no contradiction between wisdom and prophets. Just imagine, your wisdom says 2 plus 2 is 4. And now a prophet comes and he says, I was just talking to Allah. He told me that is the biggest mistake that mankind does. It is not 4, it is 5. Just imagine. Then you are going to be in a dilemma. You are going to be in a very big confusion. What type of God is there that he cannot calculate? That he tells to his prophet that 2 plus 2 become 5. Impossible. So these prophets should actually not contradict the wisdom. And the wisdom also should not contradict the prophets. These two should combine each other. They should actually, has to hand in hand work toward the betterness of mankind. That's why the only sect in Islam and the only religion in the world which believes in this line is Ahlul Bayt school of thought. The rest of all religions of the world, they don't have this particular characteristic. We are proud that in our school of thought we have accepted this fact that كلما حكم به العقل حكم به الشرع. And from other side also this is right, that كلما حكم به الشرع حكم به العقل. Everything which wisdom says, religion and prophets have to approve it. And everything which religion approves, wisdom also have to approve it. And if there is a contradiction between these two, one of them is definitely wrong. And in most cases, it is not the wisdom which is wrong, it is the prophet. The value of wisdom is more high than the prophets. You must know that the value of the wisdom that you have is much higher than, because that is the light itself. Because of that light, prophets are prophets. So you have to be very much careful concerning this issue and have it always in mind. كلما حكم به الشرع حكم به العقل. Everything which wisdom sign, the Shariat and religion and prophets has to sign. Now, here, external prophets has been sent to mankind during the history. The recorded ones according to Quran is 124,000 prophets. Now, some of these prophets were to a tribe, to a village, to a town, to its own probably, group of people. Some of them had universal messages. Basically, the 5 Ulul Azm prophets, those which they have brought books, they are prophets for all mankind, and they are Ulul Azm. The message which they brought is actually the final message up to that time. And however you know about the story of the prophets, let me not prolong that discussion. Now, these prophets, when they come, they should have characteristics for us to understand if this is a false prophet or if it is true prophets. And always we have to also remember that during the history of mankind, even now, there are people which they are claiming that they are prophets. False prophets are always being there. And also remember Whenever there are things original, always the fake of them will be also available. So if there is a fake 100 US dollar note, that means the original of that exists. Yeah? If there is a fake, that the fake US dollar shows that there is something original, which this is the imitation of it. So original prophets are there, and original prophets has signs and characteristics that we can see to those characteristics and then recognize if this person is a true prophet or he is not. And those characteristics, basically they are 3-4. Beside the personality, beside the normal way of life that you can see, the daily conduct of the life that you are always in touch with them and you recognize them as a great people, as people which they are truthful, and people which they never tell lies, the people which they are very logical, they are very kind, they are very helpful. You know, those normal characteristics that I don't want to go. The basic characteristics of a good human being should be in them before they have these extraordinarily characteristics which makes them to be prophet. Like our Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the time of childhood he was a very handsome, very beautiful, very mannered, very disciplined, not a person which wastes his time with playing with the children in the street, not a person that have, doing something that's against the philosophy of prophethood. He never told any lies to anyone during his lifetime, to that extent that when he became prophet, he asked people, have you ever heard any lie from me? And everyone said, no, you are the most truthful person in our community. And beside that, when he was something like a teenager, about 15 years old, he established a type of police in his small place in Mecca. He established a police, and he called it Shortatul Khamis. 5 people, they came together. They call it, these 5 people came together. They established a type of group. This group were protectors of the oppressed people's right. So whenever somebody was oppressing somebody, these people will go and help that oppressed man or oppressed woman. By the time, now the word shorta in Arabic terminology today, that you go in Dubai or in Saudi Arabia, you see shorta meaning police. It's coming from that action that Prophet actually has done while he was just a teenager. He established the first police in the world. Okay, and they were protecting the oppressed people of the community's life. If somebody, a rascal, might come and do something wrong against you, these 5 people go and start fighting to that extent that, take revenge. Oh, that was the characteristics of this prophet. So, and then he was always thinking, he was always in a deep type of meditation concerning the whole universe, the creation here and there, going to the deserts, spending time in the cave of Hara, being alone with the animals, with the sheep, into the deserts, talking to the stars, looking at all forks of life, the reality of life and all of that, came to conclusion that I'm not alone, that God exists and this is my duties, and then finally he gets to the position of prophethood. Beside the good characteristics of a good human being, he as a prophet has to have extra 3 characteristics to become a prophet. The first characteristic of a prophet is that he has to be able to perform miracle. Now, what is the reality of miracle? That is something that I have to spend one night concerning the miracle itself. We maybe next week we will talk about the miracle and how is miracle, the quality of miracle, what is the characteristics of miracle. But in one word I can tell you, miracle, right opposite, in contrary with what you all may think, it is not doing something impossible. Miracle is not doing something impossible. Because we said before, if you remember when we were talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the power of Allah and also the type of the beings, we said there are impossible beings, there are possible beings, and then there are necessary beings. Impossible things and beings, the word is there. What says? Impossible. So when it is impossible, it's impossible. It cannot be done. And it cannot be done by God also. In other words, even God cannot perform impossible things. Even God. As I gave you the example before, 2 plus 2 is 4. God cannot make it 5. God cannot make it 3. God cannot make 4 to be lesser than 3. And cannot make it to be equal to 5. 2 parallel lines will not cut each other, even by God. He cannot cut, he cannot cross it. Otherwise, it's not going to be any more a parallel line. Impossible. So, when something is impossible, it cannot be done by God and by the prophets also. It's impossible. When something is impossible, so miracles are in the boundary of possibility. It's just that in that moment, in that time, that the moment that he wanted to do it, that particular time that this miracle has been performed, it was impossible for those normal people which they are looking at this miracle. For them it was impossible to do it. Otherwise, the possibility of that is there, but people normally cannot perform it. If something is impossible, it cannot be done. So that is the first, just a little bit of understanding of miracle. Inshallah, maybe next week we will talk concerning the whole issue of miracle and how it happens and why it happens and the difference between miracle and some extraordinary jobs which is done by the human being in India, in here and there. Those jockeys and the what you call some of the mortars, people which we call them mortars, and some people with the extra abilities and the difference between karamat and mu'jiza and all of that. Inshallah, we will talk about it in detail. But the first characteristic of a prophet, that he should be able to do this extraordinarily job that in that particular time it was impossible. But for you just to have a little bit of an understanding how it can work, like for example, if 200 years ago somebody was coming and telling you that I have made a cell phone You can even, that time was asking, what is self? For example. So with this, what is this thing? Now he was going to tell you that I can talk with somebody who is in the next village, leave alone United States, for example. In the next village, I can talk with him without any wire. I can say something, he can answer me with just 2 devices. What are you going to do? We'll all laugh. Impossible. You will say that it is impossible because up to that time it was not. The whole thing was possible. The ability of 2 devices being connected and talking to each other, in reality it was possible, but because up to that time this thing didn't happen, you thought it is impossible, while it was very much possible. If, for example, I come and claim that I can put you in a machine here, and after 5 seconds you will be found with the totality of you will be faxed by a machine into another country. You will be received somewhere else. You may say this is completely impossible. Why? It is completely possible. It's just that it hasn't been done yet. They have done it, but not with a total physique of mankind. Yes, for example, they have managed to transfer the smell of a perfume. There are even what you call in the internet, there are websites that you can actually go and choose a perfume, and as you type, you can smell the perfume. Okay? So that means this is possible, that a physical thing can be faxed here to another place. Up to this moment, the scientist has managed to transform material to energy, but they have not managed to transform energy to material. It is possible, they have not managed yet. That doesn't mean that one day it cannot happen. And if that day comes, that they can now transform energy to material, a lot of things will happen. If today they can clone the whole of you from just one particle of your body, just one hair of you is enough. One hair of you is enough, that the total of Mr. Hoseini can be reproduced with the exact shape that when you put it next to Hoseini, you will not recognize which of them is Hoseini, the original one. Exactly, you will be cloned. As they have managed to clone the sheep, they have cloned the horse, they have cloned the other animals, but they have not cloned human beings because they have not allowed them. Up to this moment, the scientist hasn't been allowed by the law to do that, because still they are thinking about the moral aspects of cloning a human being, but it is possible. So a lot of things that you think it's impossible, it has been proven that it is completely possible. So, giving life to a dead person, it is possible. You go to a sea and you put your stick, and then all of a sudden the sea can go. It can be possible. It can be possible, but maybe it hasn't been done yet. That doesn't mean that it is not possible. When we say impossible things, is like what I said. 2 + 2 is 5. Impossible. It cannot happen. So, the first characteristic of a prophet, that it has to have a miracle. The second characteristic of a prophet is to receive revelation, and he should be able to actually prove that he has received revelation. And the third characteristic of a prophet is that, you know, he should be infallible. Infallibility. Now, this infallibility is something that we can discuss. Itself need one session that we talk, because I'm sure you will have a lot of questions concerning infallibility of prophets. The issue of miracle need one night that we inshallah will talk about the miracle. The whole revelation is also need another session. So the next 3 sessions will be discussed these 3 important topics, and then we will deal with the questions related to the issues. We just summarized the characteristics of the prophet. The detail of that, inshallah, we will talk in due time. Next week, inshallah, we are going to have 2-night commemoration of the martyrdom of Hazrat Zahra sallallahu alayha, and that will be on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll have 2-night session. We will have, inshallah, a good speaker to come and talk about the personality of Hazrat Zahra sallallahu alayha. Maybe it will be an interrupt in our normal discussions, because it is very important for us to have a good knowledge of Hazrat Zahra sallallahu alayha, which inshallah we are going to have probably ask all brothers and sisters to participate in those 2 very important sessions. We thank you all for coming today, although our numbers are getting narrow by every week. Maybe it's because my knowledge is little, or maybe we're not doing enough propagation. I actually don't have time. Once upon a time I was sending messages to everyone personally. I have stopped it, and I realized if the brothers and sisters want to come, so let them come, otherwise this messaging thing is not going to work properly. Inshallah, contact with the other brothers and sisters, and inshallah let them come. Hujjatul Islam wal Muslimin Khudadadi is here. He is the Imam of this complex. Actually, in this masjid, he is the one who is leading the prayer. The son of one of the Shuhada of Inqilab. His father was becoming Seyed Khudadadi, and he is a great, brave son of martyrs. Thank you very much all. I'm also the son of Abdullah Ja'fari is here, and the brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for coming. If there is any question, I am at your service.
My ummah, he will say, Rasulullah on that day, even though we've strayed from him and his way. My brothers, my sisters in Islam, let's struggle, work and pray. If we are